INFJs often move through the world with an inner intensity that is not immediately visible to others. Their excellence begins internally, shaped by a deep reflective life that constantly evaluates meaning, purpose, and direction. Rather than reacting impulsively, they tend to pause, observe, and synthesize experiences before acting. This inner processing allows them to respond with clarity and intention, even when situations are complex or emotionally charged. What looks like quietness from the outside is often a rich internal dialogue unfolding beneath the surface. A defining feature of this inner architecture is the INFJ's strong intuitive focus. They naturally look beyond what is obvious, sensing patterns, motives, and future implications that others may overlook. This intuition is not vague or mystical to them. It feels precise and grounded, guiding decisions in subtle but powerful ways. Over time, this pattern recognition builds a form of quiet mastery, allowing INFJs to anticipate outcomes and prepare thoughtfully rather than scrambling reactively. INFJs also tend to hold themselves to deeply personal standards. Their motivation rarely comes from external validation, praise, or competition. Instead, they are driven by an internal moral compass and a desire to act in alignment with their values. This self-directed standard can make their excellence invisible to others, since they are often more focused on integrity than recognition. Even so, this inner consistency gives their actions a steady reliability. Another important psychological layer is their comfort with solitude. INFJs often need time alone to recharge and integrate their experiences. In these moments, they refine their thoughts, process emotions, and reconnect with their sense of purpose. Solitude becomes a workshop for growth rather than an escape from the world. This ongoing self-reflection quietly sharpens their insight and emotional intelligence. Their emotional depth also contributes to their excellence. INFJs feel deeply, but they do not always express those feelings outwardly. Instead, emotions are examined, understood, and transformed into empathy and wisdom. This internal emotional work allows them to remain calm and grounded in situations where others might become overwhelmed. Their steadiness is a product of emotional processing, not emotional absence. INFJs are also naturally future-oriented. They often imagine what could be improved, healed, or reimagined in the long term. This forward-looking mindset shapes their decisions and priorities, pushing them toward purposeful action rather than short-term gratification. Quiet excellence emerges as they consistently align present choices with long-range ideals. Their internal world is also shaped by a love of learning. INFJs tend to absorb information deeply, connecting ideas across disciplines and experiences. Learning is not just about accumulating facts but about understanding how things fit together. This integrative thinking strengthens their problem-solving abilities in subtle yet effective ways. Because they are internally driven, INFJs often develop resilience without making a show of it. Challenges are processed privately, lessons are extracted, and growth happens quietly. Others may never see the full extent of what they have endured or overcome. Yet this hidden resilience becomes a foundation for wisdom and emotional maturity. INFJs also possess a strong sense of personal responsibility. They often feel accountable not only for their actions but for their impact on others. This sense of responsibility encourages thoughtful decision-making and ethical behavior. Their excellence lies in choosing what feels right rather than what feels easy. Ultimately, the inner architecture of INFJ's quiet excellence is built on reflection, intuition, and values. It is not loud or attention-seeking, but it is deeply rooted and enduring. Over time, this inner structure supports a life of meaningful contribution that may unfold gently, yet with lasting impact. Empathy is one of the most powerful psychological tools INFJs possess, and it operates quietly but effectively. They have an unusual ability to sense the emotional states of others, often picking up on unspoken feelings and subtle shifts in mood. This sensitivity allows them to respond with compassion and understanding, even when words are not exchanged. Their empathy creates a sense of safety in being seen for those around them. Rather than using empathy for attention or influence, INFJs tend to apply it in supportive and ethical ways. They listen deeply, often allowing others to feel heard without interruption or judgment. This kind of presence is rare and profoundly comforting. People may not always remember what an INFJ said, but they often remember how they felt in their presence. This empathic awareness also informs the INFJ's decision-making. They naturally consider how choices will affect others, sometimes even before considering themselves. While this can be emotionally demanding, it also leads to thoughtful and humane outcomes. Their excellence shows up in decisions that balance logic with compassion. INFJs often internalize the emotions of others, which can be both a gift and a challenge. Psychologically, this deep absorption of feeling allows them to understand complex emotional dynamics. However, it also requires them to develop strong inner boundaries over time. As they mature, many INFJs learn to channel empathy without losing themselves in it. Empathy also enhances their communication style. INFJs tend to choose words carefully, aiming to heal rather than harm. They are often skilled at expressing difficult truths with kindness and clarity. This ability to communicate sensitively makes them effective mediators and trusted confidants. Their empathic nature also fuels a desire to contribute to something meaningful. Many INFJs feel drawn to roles or causes that involve helping, guiding, or improving lives. This motivation does not usually come from a need for recognition, but from a genuine wish to reduce suffering or increase understanding. Their excellence is woven into service rather than status. Psychologically, INFJs use empathy as a way to connect deeply rather than broadly. They may have fewer relationships, but those connections are often intense and authentic. This depth fosters mutual trust and emotional richness. Quiet excellence emerges through the quality of these bonds rather than their quantity. Empathy also sharpens their insight into human behavior. By observing emotional patterns, INFJs gain a nuanced understanding of why people act the way they do. This understanding reduces judgment and increases patience. It also allows them to navigate social situations with subtle wisdom. Over time, INFJs often refine their empathy into discernment. They learn when to step in and when to step back, when to offer support and when to allow others to grow independently. This balanced empathy is a sign of psychological maturity. It transforms sensitivity into strength. In the end, empathy is not just a trait for INFJs but a guiding force. It shapes how they relate, decide, and contribute. Their quiet excellence flows from this deep emotional intelligence, leaving a gentle yet lasting imprint on the people and spaces they touch. At the core of INFJ's quiet excellence lies a strong sense of purpose. They often feel guided by an inner vision of how things could be better, more just, or more meaningful. This vision is not always articulated outwardly, but it consistently informs their choices. Purpose gives their actions direction and coherence over time. INFJs tend to think in terms of impact rather than immediate results. They are willing to invest energy into efforts that may take a long time to bear fruit. Psychologically, this patience comes from their future-oriented intuition and deep value system. They trust the process even when progress is not immediately visible. This sense of purpose often leads INFJs to pursue mastery rather than recognition. They want to do things well because it aligns with who they are, not because it earns applause. This internal motivation sustains long-term commitment and growth. Their excellence becomes evident through consistency and depth. INFJs also approach goals holistically. They consider emotional, ethical, and practical dimensions simultaneously. This integrated approach can make their progress seem slow, but it often results in more sustainable and meaningful outcomes. Their work tends to age well because it is built thoughtfully. Vision plays a key psychological role in their resilience. When faced with setbacks, INFJs often reconnect with their deeper purpose rather than giving up. This inner vision acts as an anchor during uncertainty. It reminds them why their efforts matter, even when the path is difficult. Their desire for impact is usually subtle rather than dramatic. INFJs often influence others through example, insight, or quiet encouragement. They may plant ideas that grow long after the conversation ends. This indirect influence is a hallmark of their quiet excellence. INFJs also tend to measure success internally. They ask themselves whether they acted with integrity, compassion, and authenticity. External achievements matter less than internal alignment. This inward metric keeps them grounded and emotionally balanced. Over time, INFJs often develop a refined sense of vocation. They begin to understand where their strengths, values, and passions intersect. This clarity allows them to focus their energy more effectively. Their excellence deepens as their efforts become more aligned. Their lasting impact often becomes visible only in hindsight. People may later realize how an INFJ's guidance, support, or vision shaped their lives. This delayed recognition does not diminish its value. In many ways, it enhances the quiet power of their contribution. Ultimately, the psychology behind INFJ's quiet excellence is rooted in purpose-driven living. Through vision, patience, and inner alignment, they create meaningful change without demanding attention. Their legacy is often subtle, but it endures through the lives they have touched and the values they have quietly upheld.